a video that I wanted to make today, which I think might be somewhat existential in its viewpoint. I guess I'm going to call it wait, 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 wait. Don't kill yourself. I'll start out to talk about a story of a friend of mine. Was a good friend of mine, not my best friend or anything, but a good friend of mine. And he and I used to work in a similar job, and we drank a lot back then. And I was at a beer joint once talking to him, and he says to me, "You know, I can't think of a good reason to live," he says. "Can you tell me a reason to live?" And I just thought, well, what's he talking about? I mean, I figured, just like many times, we're just having like a philosophical discussion here. So I said, well, yeah, I mean, you don't know what's going to happen next. That you want to see what's happening next. Life is all full of surprises, and so you might want to stick around and see what happens next. And apparently that wasn't a very good answer because, a week later he hung himself, which was sad. And had I known that he was seriously going to do that, I might have come up with a better answer maybe. But I suppose, I mean, what other answer is there to tell somebody? Because there are people out there nowadays. It seems like there's like almost an epidemic of suicides out there for people, and that happened 30 years ago. It was maybe over 30 years ago now, and I think it was about 33 years ago it happened. And since that time, it's like I lived a whole nother life, another life completely. Your life goes through these phases, and, you do something for a little while. It's like you're in one life, then all of a sudden you presto changeo, you're in another place with different people, and you're in another life, and you're living So since that time, I went down and lived down in Florida for a while, and I came back up and I got a job working in an environmental lobby, and then I came and I got together with the woman that I knew, and we raised a family, and the kids grew up, and now I'm an old fart, sitting around collecting Social Security, life just kind of goes through these phases, and I would say this to any of you out there who feel like, well, life doesn't have any purpose. What's the point? Oh, life just sucks. Let's get rid of it. This is something I have noticed, and maybe you should pay attention, is when you're really depressed and you're really down and you're really maybe considering doing yourself in. I'll tell you this honestly and truly. Just let it pass. Just grit your teeth a little bit and let it pass. No matter how bad it is, grit your teeth and let it pass, because, man, it passes quickly. You go from being that miserable for a while till something else comes along and gets your attention, and you're busy doing something else, and before you know it, you look around and you're an old guy already. It's honest to God, from the time I was about 20 years old till now, which is a period of 45 years, man, that went by a lot faster than the first 10 years or the first 20 years. I know it's chronologically and logically it's not the same. But believe me, when you get to this point toward the end of your half of your life, you look at it and it seems like, wow, that just went by like in a blink. So I say that to you, but the weird thing about it is there's a lot of folks nowadays who are like older people, like middle-aged men who are doing themselves in, who are committing suicide. And that is because right now being a middle-aged man kind of sucks. I admit that. It kind of sucks because you're you're set up with this priorities, or this set of rules that you understand that you're supposed to be carrying your own weight, and you're the leader, and you're the one who's in charge, and you're the one. And all of a sudden, in this day and age, it's like everybody hates your guts. You're the enemy. You're the bad guy, just because you happen to be a middle-aged white guy. Now all of a sudden everybody hates your guts, and everybody's after you, and you can't achieve the kind of things that you were hoping to achieve, and you aren't up to standard of what you wanted, or things. Well, I have this. I told my son this. Life is not a competition. I swear it's not a competition. It's a process, and it's a fast process. You might be someone like Thomas Edison, or Albert Einstein, or Leonardo da Vinci, and accomplish great feats to advance mankind into the future. But sometimes all you do is just a little bit. And you're not here to impress anybody. I mean, I know that people like to impress other people, but you're here to kind of like, I look at it as you're here to observe things, because before you know it, I swear, before you know it, you're old, and you're saying, my gosh, where did it all go? So that's kind of the way I'm thinking it, because even myself, and I'll admit this to you, on a couple of occasions in my life, I contemplated suicide. And the one time it was over a woman. It was a broken heart. Now, that's ridiculous in a way if you think about it. And I was so unhappy, and I was so miserable, and I had such a broken heart, and I was such a big baby. And I went into my room where I lived by myself, and I wrapped a rope up around the rafter there, and I stood on a chair. I was gonna hang myself, like my friend did, and that was right around the same time too. There was a lot of drama in the world at that time, and just before I did that, before I even put my head into the noose, I thought to myself, "What am I doing?" It was like I was playing a part. Like this is a part. The whole idea of hanging yourself is like something that somebody wrote in a movie or something. I was thinking, man, that is so ridiculous. It's like I was playing somebody else's part for myself. So after that, the things started to get better. I just figured, I don't care what happens. Whatever happens, happens. Whatever happens, happens. And things did happen, And then the other time I contemplated it was much later, and it was due to financial situation. We had that great recession, and I got laid off of work, and we were in danger of losing the house, and things were really bad financially for me, and my significant other was telling me how worthless I was, among other things. And I thought to myself, well, if I don't get a job within a certain time, I had a plan. I was going to put a pipe into the tailpipe of my car and run it up into the window and asphyxiate myself. I know some guy that did that one time. And again, it was kind of in the same thing. I looked at myself and I said, to hell with it. Man, I've been in worse situations than this. You can live in the street. That's all part of the process. By the way, things got better. Things got better. Things just happen. When in the short term, you see things as being miserable and short, and long rather. It seems like the misery is never going to end in the short term, but in the long term, when you look back on it, man, goes past fast. So I'm going to tell to anybody who's contemplating doing something very rash, like hurting yourselves or others, just chill just a little while. Things will change, and they change quickly. And before you know it, you're going to look back and say, well, man, wow, the things really went by fast, didn't they? And that's going to be that.